Welcome back. Well, Quebec is becoming the biggest battleground for the NDP and Liberals in these early days of the campaign. Today came reports that the FTQ, is the Federation of Quebec Labour in Quebec, it's the largest union in the province, they're going to throw their weight behind NDP candidates. The union has since clarified its position by noting it will support local candidates best able to defeat the Conservatives. But, of course, if 2011 Quebec results are any indication, that would be the NDP. The union's General Secretary, Serge Cadieux, has since clarified this position, and here's what he had to say.
Écoutez, nous, là, honnêtement, si dans une circonscription...
Honestly, for us, if in a particular riding there's a Liberal candidate with the best chance of defeating a Conservative candidate, we would work with him. And we've already received calls from many candidates within the Liberal Party to work with them. So listen, that's his position, not ours.
Well, it actually sounded a bit like Liberal leader Justin Trudeau doesn't even want the FTQ's support. Here's what he had to say.
The FTQ is an openly and officially separatist organization. It doesn't surprise me that they didn't choose to back the Liberal Party, which is a real federalist party. But as to why they've made their choice, they'll have to explain that.
All right, let's find out what all this means, if anything. McGill University political scientist Antonia Maioni joins us live from Montreal. Antonia, give us the background of this federation. Were they hardcore separatists?
Well, the FTQ is a labor union that's normally been very much in favor of the sovereigntist cause. It campaigned openly in the 1980 referendum and the 1995 referendum. Much of its leadership is indeed sovereigntist. But the problem here is that the FTQ now has made its business that it wants to get rid of the Harper government. So while it supported the Bloc Québécois in every election since 1993, since the Bloc was really a political force, now it's changing its stance, and it's saying what we want to do is support any candidate or the candidate in the riding, whatever riding that is, who can beat the Harper Conservatives. So they're making it clear that their line in the sand is no longer on sovereignty or anything to do with nation building in that sense, but really about getting rid of a government that they see as inimical to the interests of organized labor.
Well, the NDP did pretty darn good in 2011 in Quebec without this endorsement. Do you think this actually bumps them up and bumps up their chances of winning even more seats in 2015?
Well, it's no secret that Mr. Mulcair has been actively courting the Labour vote and the Labour leadership for ever since he's become leader. And typically, this is what you see in terms of the NDP leadership moving towards Labour. One of the things that the FTQ's announcement today really tells us is that they really don't think that the Bloc has a chance anywhere in Quebec. And so that's important to put into context if you're thinking about what the NDP's chances are across the province. But the NDP itself, I think, is seeing this as a great overture for them. And it really pushes home the idea that the NDP is fighting the battle in Quebec on a left-right axis and not on a nationalist, federalist, or sovereigntist federalist axis.
That's interesting. Now, do these guys have a lot of muscle? Do you think they'll put actual people in the field to help the NDP, or is it just sort of an endorsement, a kiss of the ring, and off you go and try and do the best you can?
You know what? I think it's the opposite. It's not so much an endorsement as it is boots on the ground. What the FTQ can do is put people into the ridings to be able to bring out the vote, to be able to get the candidate known in worker settings, among the unions, among the locals. And that's, I think, what's really important. So, in fact, the endorsement is not so much the important thing with the FTQ. It's what they can do in terms of helping to get out the vote and mobilize the parties to have voter support.
I find it curious, Justin Trudeau sort of shrugging off this and saying, well, who wants them anyway? They've got a separatist taint upon them. Isn't he looking a bit of a gift horse in the mouth, given that they haven't said 100% NDP? They might say, well, we might hold out and help the Liberals. Is he kissed off a possible helping hand in Quebec and places?
Yeah, and you would think he would need all the help he could get in Quebec. But listen, this is, I think, part of Trudeau's strategy, which is that for the Trudeau team, it's really not about the left-right in Quebec. It is about, you know, federalism versus sovereignty. And they've made that quite clear that that's going to be their line in their sand. Their message in Quebec is to federalists. And indeed, all of the messaging that they've been doing in Quebec is to get out the federalist vote in Quebec and to shore up their chances elsewhere, in particular in Ontario, where they can say, you see, we're a party that, you know, has no truck or trade with separatists. And that's why you should be wary of the NDP, even if you're on the left or center-left.
Isn't that a change in strategy, though, Antonia? I mean, look at Jean Lapierre, who was a Bloc Québécois, one of the founders there, ended up becoming a Liberal cabinet minister. The Liberals put that big red tent out and said, come on in, all are welcome. Is he closing the flap on a tent that might be potential gains there?
I think Mr. Trudeau sees politics in a different way than most Quebec politicians. Most Quebec politicians, and this includes politicians in the Conservative Party and the NDP, have a you know, a much broader idea of what Quebec nationalism is and where the Quebec nation sits. Mr. Trudeau doesn't see it the same way, and I think in a way that's a problem for him, and it's certainly a problem for his candidates in Francophone ridings, where, you know, you would think that Francophone would be able to sort of see the Liberals as one of parties that they could, you know, look at and try to decide among. But Mr. Trudeau has this tendency to see things in Quebec as black and white, sovereigntist, federalist, and I think that this is going to be a problem for him if he's trying to shore up support in Francophone ridings.
Very interesting. All right, Antonia, thanks for joining us. Appreciate this.